And we'll get going. Well, Greg, thank you so much for taking some time with me today to talk about your new project, Two Wolf. Tell me, how did this project come about?
I started this in 2015. It was the way I could keep playing the way I'm used to playing from the Blackfoot days. So I got Chris and Lance and Rusty, and we started playing, and the rest coming up, we hope will be history.
Very good. Um, I've got a chance to listen to the album a few times. I really like the songs Too Hard to Handle and Traveler. Do you have any favorite tunes on the record?
I could not pick a favorite. They're all, we worked really hard for this. So I'm proud of everything we did.
Oh, for sure. I know a lot of musicians say their songs are like their kids. It's hard to pick a favorite, right?
Yeah, I mean, Traveler has come up a few times already, and it's one of my compositions. I had to sing it. I thought, I'll never do this again. In the future, Chris and Lance can do my vocal on that.
All right.
I'm not a lead singer, but I gave it everything I had.
Oh, you sound fantastic. Like I said, it's one of my
Thank you.
favorites for sure. Absolutely. Now, what was different creatively about working with Two Wolf as compared to your days in Blackfoot?
Not a whole lot of difference. We have the same work ethic that we did in Blackfoot. Back in that day, most bands really practiced a lot and honed their craft. When you're playing 5 sets a night, 6 nights a week, you get pretty good pretty quick.
Mm.
But not a lot of difference. Same work ethic we applied to Two Wolf.
Okay, very good. Now, did you guys record it all in the studio, or did you do some file sharing and stuff like that using the modern technology?
All in the studio.
Oh, super. Yeah.
Old school, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a different vibe, isn't it? When you're actually
Yeah.
playing in the same room with the guys as opposed to,
Yeah.
in file.
We're all in the same room, all four of us, and we've got the amps and rooms with glass doors that we can see. But yeah, we're in the same room rather than being totally isolated.
Mm.
We've done that before in past years, but yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
Pretty much recording it live. So
right.
you get what you get and don't mess up.
Right. For sure. Um, let's see. What how do you approach the songwriting the same as you did back in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, I never had a formula myself. It's sometimes you start with a lyric and then you write music to it, or vice versa.
Mhm.
Then you pull in the other guys sometimes. Do you have any ideas? Can you have any suggestions? Maybe you can add a part. So it's still a group effort, even though one or two people may write a song, but it's the whole contribution of the band as a whole that gives you the final result. You got to have all four.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how did you come across Lance? I've heard some of his solo stuff. I mean, he's a brilliant guitar player. How did this band form?
I met him through the first drummer that we had in Two Wolf. They were friends. So
Okay.
we brought Lance in, and he had a lot going on at the time, so he didn't stay very long. And then we brought Chris Bell in, and same thing, he was kind of tied up at the moment. And then eventually I got both of them back in the band at the same time, and that was the magic. That was kind of my dream. If I get both these guys in this band at the same time, we got it made.
Ah, there you go. Do you guys have any plans to go out and play this music live?
Yeah, I just got back yesterday from the show we did Saturday.
Oh,
We did Southern Rock Woodstock in Woodstock, Virginia.
hmm.
And we've got September 19th in Syracuse. We've got, I forget the date, but August we're playing another Woodstock in a
Yeah.
different town, doing three altogether.
Wow.
October, we've got another one in Ohio.
Ah, that's
No,
where I'm
vice
from.
versa. Ohio's the next one, then North Carolina, Maggie Valley.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, that I'm based out of Cleveland, so I got to look and see where you're playing. I'd love to come check you out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Um, Now, looking back on your career, you being a founding member of Blackfoot, What are some of the moments that kind of stand out to you from that time?
I could not put that in a capsule. It was just incredible.
Mm,
We went from playing clubs to opening up for bands that we later toured with extensively, and then we kept pecking away at it. So our first album bombed, second album bombed, went 3 years without a label. Then Strikes came out, and it went gold in 8 months, and then it went platinum. We're like, wow, first two did like 60,000 total combined. I mean, who knows?
right.
Luck of the draw, I guess. Right place at the right time.
Wow. And why is that? It seems that a lot of bands from the 70s and 80s, it seems like the third album is the magic one. It's the one that kind of connects.
Never thought about that. They always say the third time is the charm, right?
Right.
I guess so. Yeah,
All right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like Springsteen's Born to Run was his third album, and a lot of bands, it's the third album. I don't know what that is. And even for Blackfoot, obviously. Yeah.
me either.
Sure.
You know what? I kind of think um, I was talking to Ted Nugent last or 2 weeks ago, and I think he said the same thing. His third record is when he dropped the Amboy Dukes, and it's just Ted Nugent.
Mm,
That was number three for him. I'll
wow.
have to call him back and ask him if that's true.
There you go. Very good. Um, Now, how did the band's connection with Southern rock in Blackfoot and your Native American identity kind of shape the music that you guys played?
Yeah, interesting story. I formed Blackfoot in September of '69, and we did a battle of the bands with the Allman Brothers. It was their first show as the Allman Brothers, the
Wow.
second coming 2 weeks before. So we adopted the name Hammer. 6 months later, we go to New York City on the promise of a record deal that was not there when we arrived. But we're sitting in a one bedroom apartment, the band, and watching TV. And all of a sudden, we saw there was a band in California named Hammer that released an album. So, well, we got to change the band or the name. So we said, let's call it Free. 2 weeks later, All Right Now comes out. We're like,
Right.
now what do we do? So we were watching Johnny Cash variety show on a Sunday night, and he always had a different tribe every Sunday night that he honored. This happened to be Lakota. So Jackson, our drummer, said, Blackfoot. That's what we'll call the band, Blackfoot. And we said, yes. Jackson was Cheyenne, Cherokee, and French. I'm Muskogee Creek, and said, why not? Kind of a neutral name. We're neither one of that tribe,
Okay.
different tribes. That's simple.
Right. Okay. Very good. I did not know that story. That's
Yeah.
very cool. How about that? Um, so early on, can you talk about your experiences working with Leonard Skynyrd and other legends from that area? Going on tour with those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
bands.
We were friends with Skynyrd when we were playing the comic book club in Jacksonville in 1969, 7 nights a week. Once in a while, if we got an off show somewhere, Skinner would come in and play. And then when we left, they played there, I think, 7 days a week too for a while. But we had been friends through the music stores and all. Um, we all got along great. So it was like 3 years later when I joined Skinner because Blackfoot had a hiccup and growing pains.
Right.
So I wound up going into Muscle Shoals. We recorded a full album. And then I think I was only in a band like maybe 8 months is all. And I really wanted to reform Blackfoot. So I did.
Hmm.
And Ricky was in the band at the time also in Skinner.
Right. Yeah,
So
okay.
we both left and, went back and got the other two guys. And the rest is history there.
Hmm.
We wanted Blackfoot back.
Right. Very good. I think you made the right choice for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
doing your yeah.
But what a great experience. And that also led to us going back to Muscle Shoals as Blackfoot and doing the first two albums before
Oh,
we got
okay.
to that go. And then from that point on, we used a different studio. But Muscle Shoals what a vibe that place had. Of course,
Mm.
they were known as R&B, but they also did like Bob Seger's album that did 4 times platinum. That's the first quadruple platinum I think ever released in America, to my knowledge.
Wow.
But
Huh.
they were doing like Sam and Dave, Otis Redding, people like that, more of a soul studio. And we went in there and they're like, oh, wait a minute, those Marshalls have to go. They're used to amplifiers, like a cube. But we gave it everything we had, and the recording came out great. It just didn't sell
Mm.
till Strikes came out.
Right. Exactly. Now, did you guys tour together in the 70s, Blackfoot and Skynyrd?
I think we only did maybe 2 shows
Okay.
once we had got going again as Blackfoot. I
Gotcha.
saw a picture a while back. It was in a Coliseum. I want to say it was either Nashville or Knoxville. I know it's Tennessee. And it's a picture of Ronnie and I sitting in chairs facing each other, just talking. And that would have been about 70, the end of 76 or early 77.
Hmm.
But yeah, we always got along great,
Right.
right up
Okay.
until the plane crash.
Sure. Right. Exactly. Now, you've always kind of represented your Native American heritage, including in songs like a new song called "The Great Spirit." How has that influenced your music and your life over the years? Kind of still incorporating that heritage.
It's always been a part of me, so it's nothing I had to really work at, but I always wanted to incorporate. Actually, Great Spirit was co-written with Richard Luciano up in Montana.
Hmm.
I had gone up there and spent a year. We wrote a lot of songs, and that's the one that stood out, was Great Spirit.
Hmm.
He already had most of the lyrics and he had most of the chords. I just put the finishing touches on. I credit him with more having to do with that song than me.
Okay.
So thanks to him, that song came out great.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, do you feel, in your era in the 70s, I grew up in the 70s, where rock music had the power to influence culture. Do you think that rock music still has that power to influence culture today?
Not like it did back then. I guess because it's all been done so many times.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't think there'll ever be a big change again, unfortunately. That was a magic time. And you had a lot of genres of rock, but each one had their place.
Mm.
And we got through the hair band days and then grunge hit in the 90s, and it's like, you know, I don't know if we'll ever recover from that.
Right?
I couldn't make any sense of. But the thing is, there were some great players nonetheless.
Mm.
It was the songwriting lacked, I think, in a lot of cases. But then you did have a few that emerged that were really, really good. And they
Right.
played some great music.
Sure. Absolutely. Um, I always have to ask, being from Cleveland, do you have any memories of playing in Cleveland? And did you ever stay at the legendary Swingos Hotel? I always ask people from that era if you remember Swingos.
No, I remember the Agora.
Oh, yep, we still have it.
Um, I remember the Coliseum. It was just a dome, and the sound was just doing like this. It sounded awful, but it was always packed.
Yeah,
But I do
yeah,
remember those 2 places.
good,
And we did
absolutely.
a live gig up there one day. It was about noon on a weekday, and it was broadcast live. That was in Cleveland somewhere.
It
I
was
don't
probably the
remember where
Agora.
we were. But
Yeah, it might have been the old WMMS coffee break concert. Yeah, they always had those at 12 o'clock.
WMMS, yeah. I don't remember if it was the Agora or not, because I remember the stage at the Agora. This was a different stage
Okay.
that somebody had picked to do the recording from.
Hmm.
That's
Wow.
when Ken Hensley was in the band too at the time.
Okay. Very good. Awesome. Um, well, do you have any, what are your plans for the future, besides playing these one-off gigs here and there? Are you still working on new music? You said you
Oh
recorded
yeah.
quite a bit of songs, but tell me what's going on.
Yeah, we were talking while we were in the studio recording this last one. Like, can't wait to start on the second. I mean, we were in the last days of finishing what we had started and already thinking about the next one. It's always going to be a next one.
Good.
I mean, the rest of our lives. Let's do one more record.
Right.
That's the
Yeah, very
dream.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what else
It's
we're gonna do?
yeah, it's in your blood. You got to keep doing it. And
Yeah.
I love hearing new music. Absolutely. So I wish you nothing but success with this new record. I'm gonna tell all the people in Northeast Ohio to check you guys out, and I'm definitely gonna check out that show. If it's anywhere close, I'm gonna come and check you guys out live.
Fantastic.
All right, Greg. Again, thank you so much for your time and safe travels when you hit the road. And hopefully, we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. And I hope we do this again soon.
All right, very good.
Anytime.
All right, you take care, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.